To our viewers just tuning in, thank you for joining us on C-SPAN's Washington Daily. We now take you live to Capitol Hill, where a confirmation hearing is currently being held on Supreme Court nominee Elizabeth Doolittle.
Order. Currently we have a Supreme Court vacancy. We recognize Eliza Doolittle as having strong-willed opinions and being influential. The true testament of her character is set to come from the era of her life called Pygmalion. We will hear various testimonies to determine if Eliza can confront societal issues. In Pygmalion, George Bernard Shaw satirizes the rigid hierarchy of Britain's social classes. The idealized expectations of Victorian high society and disdain for lower classes give way to the unrefined, sometimes crude characteristics of the wealthy and the vitality of commoners. Through the use of hyperbole, irony, and situational humor, Shaw evokes a thoughtful laughter that reveals each social class to be uniformly imperfect. This chair will now entertain its first speaker. Colonel Pickering.
Thank you, Chairwoman.
What is the nature of your relationship to Miss Doolittle?
Eliza. Well, we're not well acquainted. We met in London one stormy night, and I bumped into Professor Higgins, and overhearing her talk, she sought Higgins out. She wanted to act ladylike, and I didn't know that she'd become more of a lady than Higgins. In fact, she already was one. In a meeting between Eliza and Higgins, Shaw over-exaggerates the authority that British higher society claims over lower classes, while Higgins seizes control of Eliza as an intellectually superior mentor. Shaw sets his refinement of mind and conduct in opposition to Eliza's refinement of character. By contrasting the strength of character and status of class, Shaw appeals to the hypocrisies of British society, revealing the value of innate goodness.
So you recommend Miss Doolittle?
I think she'd be excellent.
How much do you propose to pay me for the lessons?
Oh, I know what's right. A lady friend of mine gives French lessons for 18 pence an hour from a real French gentleman. Well, you wouldn't have the face to ask me the name for teaching my own language as you would for French, so I won't give more than a shilling. Take it or leave it.
Walking up and down the room, rattling his keys and his cash in his pockets.
You know, Pickering, if you could consider a shilling, not as a simple shilling, but as a percentage of this girl's income, it works out as fully equivalent to 60 or 70 guineas from a millionaire.
How so?
Figure it out. A millionaire has about $150 a day. She earns about half a crown.
Hotly.
Who told you I only...
Continually.
She offers me 2/5 of her day's income. 2/5 for a lesson. 2/5 of a millionaire's income for a day would be somewhere around $60. It's handsome. By George, it's enormous. It's the biggest offer I've ever had.
Rising, terrified.
60 pounds? What are you talking about? I never offered you 60 pounds. Where would I get...
Hold your tongue.
Weeping.
But I ain't got 60 pounds. Oh.
Don't cry, you silly girl. Sit down. Nobody's going to touch your money.
Somebody is going to touch you with a broomstick if you don't stop sniveling. Sit down.
Obeying slowly.
One would think you was my father.
If I decide to teach you, I'll be worse than 2 fathers to you. Here.
He offers her his silk handkerchief.
What's this for?
To wipe your eyes, to wipe any part of your face that feels moist. Remember, that's your handkerchief, and that's your sleeve. Don't mistake the one for the other if you wish to become a lady in a shop.
Lisa, utterly bewildered, stares helplessly at him.
It's no use talking to her like that, Mr. Higgins. She doesn't understand. Besides, you're quite wrong. She doesn't do it that way at all.
She takes the handkerchief. Snatching it.
Here, you give me that handkerchief. He give it to me, not to you.
Laughing.
He did. I think it must be regarded as her property, Mrs. Pierce.
Presiding for herself.
Serve you right, Mr. Higgins.
Higgins, I'm interested. What about the ambassador's garden party? I'll say you're the greatest teacher alive if you make that good. I'll bet you all the expenses of the experiment if you can't do it, and I'll pay for the lessons.
Oh, you are real good. Thank you, Captain.
Tempted, looking at her.
Oh, it's almost irresistible. She's so deliciously low, so horribly dirty.
Most sensitive extremely.
Oh, I ain't dirty. I wash my face and hands before I come. I did.
You're certainly not going to turn her head with flattery, Higgins.
Uneasy.
Oh, don't say that, sir. There's more ways than one of turning a girl's head, and nobody can do it better than Mr. Higgins, though he may not always mean it. I do hope, sir, you won't encourage him to do anything foolish.
Becoming excited as the idea grows on him.
What is life but a series of inspired follies? The difficulty is to find them to do. Never lose a chance, it doesn't come every day. I shall make a duchess out of this draggle-tailed gutter snipe.
Strongly appreciating this view of her.
Ooh.
Carried away.
Yes, in 6 months. In 3, if she has a good ear and a quick tongue. I'll take her anywhere and pass her off as anything. We'll start today, now, this moment. Take her away and clean her, Miss Pierce. Monkey brand if it won't come off any other way. Is there a good fire in the kitchen?
Protesting.
Yes, but...
Take all her clothes off and burn them. Ring up Whiteley or somebody for new ones. Wrap her in brown paper till they come.
You're no gentleman. You're not, to talk of such things. I am a good girl, I am, and I know what the like of you are. I do.
We want none of your listen grove prudery here, young woman. You've got to learn to behave like a duchess. Take her away, Miss Pierce. If she gives you any trouble, wallop her.
Straightening up and running between Victory and Mrs. Pierce for protection.
No, I'll call the police, I will.
But I've no place to put her.
Put her in the dustbin.
Eliza represents the hidden virtues of the downtrodden. Her words conceal a dignity and humility I dare say even Higgins doesn't have. She enters the room fully intending to pay for lessons, and even as Higgins and Mrs. Pierce mock her sincerity, she perseveres.
The chair calls Professor Higgins, my own ungrateful spawn, to testify. You have the floor.
Thank you, ma'am. This wench came to me, seeking my expertise. I take her under my wing only for her to accuse me, but alas, she betrayed me, dashing me with my own possessions. In the first argument between Professor Higgins and Eliza in George Bernard Shaw's Pygmalion, Shaw expands on the impact of class on the values of the characters. Through slippers, a warm bed, and other material goods, Shaw symbolizes tension between the high expectations of wealth and social acceptance, with the reality of unfulfilling luxury and attention. Highlighting the clothing, Shaw conjures up day-to-day sentiments of Britain's social classes, such as hopelessness and dissatisfaction in the poor and egotism and callousness among the elite, using this confrontation to mock the clash of societal benefits.
What the devil have I done with my slippers?
He appears at the door. Snatching up the slippers, hurling them at him one after the other with all her force.
There are your slippers. In there. Take your slippers, and may you never have a day's luck with them.
Astounded,
What on earth?
he talks to her.
What's the matter? Get up.
Hold her up.
Anything wrong?
Breathless,
Nothing wrong with you. I've won your bet for you, haven't I? That's enough for you. I don't matter, I suppose.
You won my bet. You? Presumptuous insect? I won it. What did you throw those slippers at me for?
Because I wanted to smash your face. I'd like to kill you, you selfish brute. Why didn't you leave me where you picked me out of? In the gutter? You thank God it's all over, and now you can throw me back again there, do you?
she twists her fingers frantically.
The creature is nervous after all.
And Sylvie darts her nails at his face, catching her wrists.
Ah, would you? Claws in, you cat! How dare you show your temper to me? Sit down and be quiet.
He throws her roughly into the easy chair. Watched by Superior strengthened weight.
What's to become of me? What's to become of me?
How the devil do I know what's to become of you? What does it matter what becomes of you?
You don't care. I know you don't care. You wouldn't care if I was dead. I'm nothing to you. Not so much as them slippers.
Thundering.
Those slippers.
Those slippers. I didn't think it made any difference now.
Why have you begun going on like this? May I ask whether you complain of your treatment here?
No,
Has anybody behaved badly with you, Colonel Pickering, Mrs. Pierce, any of the servants?
no,
I presume you don't pretend that I have treated you badly.
no.
I am glad to hear it.
He moderates his tone.
Perhaps you're tired after the strain of the day. Will you have a glass of champagne?
Pierce goes to the door,
Nope.
recollecting her manners.
Thank you.
Did you grin again?
This has been coming on you for some days. I suppose it was natural for you to be anxious about the garden party, but that's all over now.
He tapped her kindly on the shoulder as she arrived.
There's nothing more to worry about.
No, nothing more for you to worry about.
She suddenly rises again and gets away from him, like going to the piano, where she sits and hides her face.
Oh God, I wish I was dead.
Staring after her in sincere surprise.
Why? In heaven's name, why?
Reasonably going to her.
Listen to me, Eliza. All this irritation is purely subjective.
I don't understand. I'm too ignorant.
It's only imagination. Low spirits and nothing else. Nobody's hurting you. Nothing's wrong. You go to bed like a good girl and sleep it off. Have a little cry and say your prayers. That will make you comfortable.
I heard your prayers. Thank God it's all over.
Impatiently,
Well, don't you thank God it's all over? Now you are free and can do whatever you like.
pulling herself together in desperation.
What am I fit for? What have you left me fit for? Where am I to go? What am I to do? What is to become of me?
Pointed, but not at all impressed.
Oh, that's what's worrying you, is it?
He thrusts his hands into his pockets and walks about in his usual manner, rattling the contents of his pockets as if condescending to a trivial subject of pure kindness.
I shouldn't bother about it if I were you. I should imagine you won't have much difficulty in settling yourself somewhere or other. Though I hadn't quite realized that you were going away.
She looks quickly at him. He does not look at her, examines a dessert stand on his piano, decides that he will eat them.
You might marry, you know.
He bites a large piece out of the apple and plunges it noisily.
You see, Eliza, all men are not all confirmed old bachelors like me and the Colonel. Most men are the marrying sort, poor devil. And you're not bad looking. It's quite a pleasure to look at you sometimes. Not now, of course, because you're trying and looking as ugly as the very devil. But when you're all right and quite yourself, you're what I should call attractive. That is, to the people in the marrying line, you understand. You go to bed and have a good night's rest, then get up and look at yourself in the glass, and you won't feel so cheap.
Liza again looks at him, speechless and does not stir. The look is quite lost on him. He eats an apple with a dreamy expression of happiness. That is quite a good one. I think it's a genial afterthought of virtue.
I dare say my mother could find some chap or other who would do very well.
We were above that at the corner of Tottenham Court Road.
Waking up?
What do you mean?
I sold flowers. I didn't sell myself. Now you've made a lady of me and I'm not fit to sell anything else. I wish you'd left me where you found me.
There, she did not stop. She accused me of using her as one of many other experiments. How does she not realize that she is my masterpiece?
Now, dearest, don't get ahead of yourself.
My knowledge and wisdom make me a father of sorts. Better than Doolittle, that lowly peasant coward. I protected her. Merely did I test my capabilities, but also had developed an attachment. She was a leech. I respectfully refuse to acknowledge her nomination and encourage you to do the same.
A most riveting story. Please, Higgins, silence yourself. Miss Doolittle to speak.
I thank you, Chairwoman. It is simply an honor to be considered for this position. In Pygmalion, Shaw culminates the play by distinguishing between superficial and interchange. Eliza's belief in her interchange due to Pygmalion's kindness contrasts with Higgins' obsession with proper appearance and behavior. The transformation-centered clash between Eliza and Higgins evokes thoughtful humor because Eliza changed in a way that pleasantly surprised Higgins. So Higgins speaks a partial truth. I was of the lower class. I was never dealt justice, so I understand deprivation. I was a test subject, a cruel reminder of my lot in the working class and the poor, but Pickering fostered my self-esteem, and today I understand justice.
You find me cold, unfeeling, selfish, don't you? Very well, be off with you to the sort of people you like. Marry some sentimental hog or other with lots of money and a thick pair of lips to kiss you with and a thick pair of boots to kick you with. If you can't appreciate what you've got, you'd better get what you can appreciate.
Desperate.
Oh, you are a cruel tyrant. I can't talk to you. You turn everything against me. I'm always in the wrong, but you know very well all the time that you're nothing but a bully. You know I can't go back to the gutter, as you call it, and that I have no real friends in the world but you and the Colonel. You know well I couldn't bear to live with a low common man after you two, and it's wicked and cruel of you to insult me by pretending I could. You think I must go back to Wimpole Street because I have nowhere else to go but father's. But don't you be too sure that you have me under your feet to be trampled on and talked down. I'll marry Freddie, I will, as soon as he's able to support me.
Sitting down beside her.
Rubbish, you shall marry an ambassador. You shall marry the Governor General of India or the Lord Lieutenant of Ireland or somebody who wants a deputy. I'm not going to have my masterpiece thrown away on Freddie.
You think I like you to say that, but I haven't forgotten what you said a minute ago, and I won't be coaxed around as if I were a baby or a puppy. If I can't have kindness, I'll have independence.
Independence? That's middle-class blasphemy. We are all dependent on one another, every soul of us on earth.
Rising determinedly.
I'll let you see whether I'm dependent on you. If you can preach, I can teach. I'll go and be a teacher.
What will you teach in heaven's name?
What you taught me, I'll teach phonetics.
Ha ha ha.
I'll offer myself as an assistant professor in Nikkei.
Rising to the fury.
What? That's imposter, that's humbug, that toadying ignoramus? Teach him my methods, my discoveries? You take one step in his direction and I'll wring your neck.
He lays his hand.
Bring away! What do I care? I knew you'd strike me someday.
He lets her go. Stopping with Lily to having to drown himself. He falls so hastily that he stumbles back into the sea on the auto.
Aha! Now I know how to deal with you. What a fool I was not to think of it before. You can't take away the knowledge you gave me. You said I had a finer ear than you. And I can be civil and kind to people, which is more than you can. Aha! That's done you, Henry Higgins. It has. Now I don't care that for your bullying and your big talk. I'll advertise it in the papers that your duchess is only a flower girl that you taught, and that she'll teach anybody to be a duchess just the same in 6 months for 1,000 guineas. Oh, when I think of myself crawling under your feet and being trampled on and called names, when all the time I had only to lift a finger to be as good as you, I could just kick myself.
Wondering is there.
You damned impudent slut, you. But it's better than sniveling. Better than fetching slippers and finding spectacles, isn't it?
Rising.
By George, Eliza, I said I'd make a woman of you, and I have. I like you like this.
Yes, you turn around and make up to me now that I'm not afraid of you and can do without you.
Of course I do, you little fool. 5 minutes ago you were like a millstone round my neck, and now you're a tower of strength, a consort battleship. You and I and Pickering will be 3 old bachelors together instead of only 2 men and a silly girl.
Mrs. Higgins returns, dressed for the wedding. Eliza is sleeping with a full delegate.
The carriage is waiting. Eliza, are you ready?
Hi, is the professor ready? Come in.
Certainly not. He can't behave himself in church. He makes remarks out loud all the time on the clergyman's pronunciation.
Then I shall not see you again, Professor. Goodbye.
She goes to the door.
Goodbye, dear.
Goodbye, Mother.
He's about to kiss her when he recollects something.
Oh, by the way, Eliza, order a ham and a Stilton cheese, will you? And buy me a pair of reindeer gloves, number 8s, and a tie to match that new suit of mine at Eel and Binman's. You can choose the color.
His cheerful, careless, vigorous voice shows that he is incorrigible. Disdainfully,
Bye then yourself.
she swoops out.
My experience with irritating humans will serve me well against the audacious upper class, so I am fit for this position.
Thank you for those words, Eliza. Now, I do have a few queries about your conflict with Professor Higgins. Of your predicament, critic Chen Luha wrote, "She is manifestly incapable of expressing herself or of conceptualizing her state other than in simplistic alternatives, and in turn, her feelings have shallow definition because she has neither the language in which to express them, nor the perspective or experience to objectify them. Thus, terror, rebelliousness, dismay, and indignation are all vented by a howl, ah, oh, oh, ow, ow, though through which she may reflect different emotions by intonation. As cruel as Professor Higgins is at times, one must note that you have been able to sway genteel Londoners and ambassadors to your favor. Have you not conquered your twisted tongue only with his guidance?"
He did give me a respected voice. My quarrel is that he voiced no respect. I was as downtrodden as before under his tutelage that I felt no less of a flower girl with my listen girl's lips than with his Oxford intonation. Look at the kind colonel. For all his status and repute, Pickering regards me as an equal and treats me accordingly. He is not Higgins. What made me a lady was not fancy mannerisms and linguistic know-how. No, it was the courage to regard myself as worthy. Only Pickering taught me.
As our population diversifies, issues of race and class find their way onto the Supreme Court docket every year. How do you intend to approach class differences in these cases?
I am far from a socialist, yet it's becoming increasingly clear that the population is stratified into 2 classes. How the upper classes treat us very well fits the Marxist model. Higgins' nonchalant attitude regarding my future is similar to how a bourgeoisie is interested in a worker only to the extent that he can use the worker for his ends. What happens to the worker at the end of the workday is of no concern to the bourgeoisie. For Higgins, what happens to me after Higgins has won his bet is of no concern to him. Thus, because he regards me only as either a commodity or a worker only to be used to fulfill his designs, Higgins is a classic example of Marx's heartless Marxists and bourgeoisie. I don't believe in the virtue of the lower classes either. Men like my father have no place in the gentility of finance or of mind. Each class is uniformly imperfect. There is no ground on which to defend rigid class structures of Victorian society. Diamonds and dirt can be found both beautiful and gross.
Well said, Miss Doolittle. This committee will now adjourn. Thank you, Miss Doolittle. Thank you, witnesses. Expect a recommendation by recess.